Hello, my name is METİN ARIDAŞIR. This is 92nd part of explanation of my theory. I hope you'll see. All atoms come from hydrogen. ARIDAŞIR's mine highest ionization energy minimum wavelength-electron formulas for all atoms. Here are my formulas. When I use my formulas, I predict all of atoms' highest ionization energies and smallest electrons wavelength. I have computed and I have checked and everything is okay. 1. Each proton that added to the hydrogen's single proton here, this is proton, here small, this is proton, this is electron, this is hydrogen atom. Yes. One. Each proton that added one proton, and if we add second and if we add third protons, I will explain now. Each proton that added to the hydrogen's single proton. We say this single proton first proton. Each proton that added to hydrogen's single proton makes shrink first-proton-bounded electron motion forms initial wavelength lambda n inversely proportional to n square. Again, now this is one proton. When we add second proton, this is one proton. Two of that two protons make joint motion, and when they are doing this electron motion forms wavelength shrinks at the rate of n square. Okay? Each proton that added to the hydrogen's single proton, each proton that added to the hydrogen's single proton makes shrink first-proton-bounded electron motion forms initial wavelength inversely proportional to n square. This shrinking originates from linear velocity effects of all added protons. Here, n is inverse effect of wave number, as each proton has single cycle wave number. Their electron-like constituent part single cycle, in fact. So, we can think n as proton or electron number. 2. In all our atoms that we know, there are same certain size kind of electron motion form that its initial wavelength lambda n or lambda ei is equal to 91.155 nanometer. This electron lambda n 91 nanometer. Okay. 3. A single proton, when makes joint motion with this electron, this 91, a single proton, not second one, not added protons, only single proton, think of that like this. A single proton, when makes joint motion with this electron, here, joint motion with proton and electron, same direction of angular momentum, okay. A single proton, when makes joint motion with this electron, this 91.155 nanometer wavelength radius size electron motion forms wavelength doesn't change. Then here it is hydrogen. According to my theory and my formulas, proton-bounded electrons under some effects enlarge or shrink at a certain rate, n square. When you add a second proton, this is first proton and this is second proton, have made joint motion, okay? And here electron motion form, one of it, first one. And second one has another bigger wavelength electron motion form, but I didn't show here because of confusing, okay? Then I will explain in detail. Next. Yes. When you add a second proton to make joint motion with hydrogen's proton, first-proton-bounded 91.155 nanometer wavelength electron motion form shrinks here. When you add a proton here, shrinks. This is shrinking, okay, to lambda n divided by n square here. 91.155 divided by n. And what? 2 protons. 2 n square 4. Lambda n divided by 4 is equal to here. First one, 91 point, etc. divided by 4, 22.78 nanometer. This is energy of electron motion form that shrunk, connected with first proton. And this is its shrinked wavelength. Yes. When you add a second proton to make joint motion with hydrogen's proton, first proton bounded 91.155 nanometer wavelength electron motion form shrinks to lambda n divided by n square equal to 91.155 divided by 4 is equal to 22 point here 22.78 nanometer at the rate of n square divided by original initial lambda n of electron motion form. From now on, it is helium. Whether second electron bounds or doesn't bound second added proton. This is from now on helium. Okay? And this second proton Another electron motion form may bound, may make joint motion. Okay. This is helium. Yes. Then, when you add third proton, here, one proton, first proton, second proton, third proton, okay, joint motion. And each one at their first cycles. And last one affect successively all of protons through the first one. But finally there is interesting results. I will show you now. And I have shown because of this formula, Wavl, that I put forth. When you add third proton to helium's protons, first proton bounded, here, first proton bounded, this one, first proton bounded 2278 nanometer size smallest electron shrinks to, again, lambda n divided by n square is equal to 91 original wavelength, 0.155 divided by 3 square, 9, is equal to, here, this electron motion form, smallest electron motion form, here, now, lambda EI we say, lithium, lambda EI lithium, smallest electron, is equal to its wavelength, 10.12 nanometer. Their energy, as they are shrinking, their energy increasing. Their energies are increasing. Their energies increase. Yes. And goes on same way for all atoms. All atoms come from hydrogen. Okay? Now, here, highest ionization energy formula, my formula, smallest electron motion forms wavelength formula that I put forth, and smallest electron motion forms energy formula that I put forth in an atom. Okay? For all of atoms, these formulas are valid that I put forth, and I predicted by means of my formulas all of energy and wavelength values for smallest electron motion forms that bounded first protons of all of atoms. Yes. Here for my formulas. I hope you see. Yes. Now, four. Each added proton must affect the first proton without dissipating on protons that are between first proton and last added one at same certain n square inversely proportional rate. This reminds me momentum transferring, but not same, similar, like this, like this. Do you remember that? First one, last one. Hanged balls. And when this one strike there in their standstill position, but last one, same energy, total energy is conserved. Okay, like this, similar. This is my energy formula. Each last added proton shrink electron motion form first-proton-bounded electron motion form. Make shrink that first proton-bounded electron motion form and transfer all of protons, say energy, momentum, etc., but their linear velocities are determinative for this. N square, remember, N is cycle of wave. Okay, and all of the protons constituent parts are cycling at their first cycles and successively interacted and first one electron motion form just all of energy relationship formula that I put forth at certain rate for all atoms. First proton-bounded electron motion form show this energy changing to us like this. Okay? Yes. For each proton in an atom, there is a certain and different size wavelength bounded electron motion form in balance, undisturbed in imbalance, not imbalance. For each proton in an atom, there is a certain and different size wavelength bounded electron motion forms in balance, undisturbed as single cycle, and each of these electrons have different ionization energies correspond to these wavelengths. 6. First proton-bounded electron has smallest wavelength and highest ionization energy value. 7. All ionization energies in an atom are ground state energies also. Have a good evening. See you later.